Hi again, everyone. TJ Alt's I-45 now, and we have now some more election day results coming in, and we'll tell you about those. But as you can see on our scroll there, we've already called these contested races. Mark Henry elected as Galveston County Judge. Jack Roady reelected as Galveston County District Attorney. And then also now coming on with us, the new, soon to be the new judge of the 122nd District Court, Jeth Jones, and Judge-elect. Thanks for coming, all of us, from your victory party at Artillery Club in Galveston. How are you feeling tonight with a pretty commanding lead with 65% of the vote on your first run for office?
I appreciate it, TJ. We're having a nice time here. We believe that a red wave has spoken in Galveston County. I think that all the conservatives have gone out to vote and kept Galveston to be a Republican county for what appears to be the fifth cycle in a row. We're really excited. I think that, we're hearing numbers that appear that we've won. And I've told my supporters here tonight that we believe we've won. And I think that those numbers show that right now. But
yeah, you can be cautiously optimistic, but we'll go ahead and say we've already declared it. There's not enough numbers on the day of to catch up with you there with 65%. Jeth Jones, by the way, is on with us. The Republican candidate for the 122nd District Court will be replacing John Ellisor, the dean of the court, actually, as he decided not to run for re-election. This is your first campaign venture. How was it for you, this experience to run for judge?
It was great tonight. Judge Ellisor came and stayed for a couple hours, and that was just awesome to have him here. He's been a great friend for many years, and it's just wonderful to have him here to enjoy this. I told him before I ever decided to run that if he ever decided to retire, that I wanted to try and run for his bench, that I felt like it was something that I wanted to do to serve this county. And it was great to have him here tonight to congratulate me and to continue his Republican tradition of a conservative court in Galveston County.
What was the campaign like for you, though, this time around? You had an opponent in the primary, obviously an open seat that normally happens, and then not a real serious challenge from the Democrat in this, but still a challenge nonetheless. And what did you learn on the campaign trail you're going to take with you to the bench, talking to voters and just the folks that are going to, potentially serve as on your juries when you become judge?
TJ, this was not a short cycle for me. This lasted for over 15 months. And what I learned is the voters of Galveston County truly care about their community. They truly can care a lot about crime right now. This is not just a national problem. This is a problem that we see in Galveston County. A lot of folks have asked me to keep them safe, keep the community safe. And as a former prosecutor, I believe I can do that when I take over the bench.
All right. Well, that'll be coming in January. What do you need? Since you said it was a 15-month process before you get there, I'm sure you're due some rest before you get to take the bench in January. Do you plan on taking some time off, or are you going to just start getting ready?
When you live on the island, every day is a vacation. So we're here. I have no plans of going anywhere. I'm told that if I am the elected judge, I have a baby judge school to go to. Judge Ellisor and I talked tonight about a transition process, and I believe he and I will meet some to talk about that. I think that the court's in good shape. His coordinator, Becky Hernandez, she's agreed to stay with me as long as she wants that job. I have a nice transition.
We should point out you've got, that'll be on your docket a couple of pretty big cases that are in the 122nd District Court, and there have been a lot of rulings on. You've been brushing up on some of those, and one of those being the Santa Fe shooter trial that has been moved to Fort Bend County that's still kind of on hold. Other cases, have you been keeping up with some of the that are already on the 122nd's docket? So you're familiarized with the rulings and the like when you take over in January?
Well, you know what, TJ, you may know I'm a practicing lawyer, and in Mill Shirley, we've got an active trial docket. And so, frankly, between running for office and being an active, full-time trial lawyer, all I've really worried about is the cases I've had on my docket that I've worked on as a trial lawyer in the last couple of years. I think that going forward, I'll have some time to figure out what to do with that docket, but I haven't really focused on anything about that docket. I can't, as a incoming judge, make any decisions about what I would even think about a case there. And frankly, as a lawyer, I've been just in an active practice day to day in the Galveston County courts. That's all I do, and I care about my practice. Right now, I have a big job to transition my law practice to the others at Mill Shirley so they can take over for me, and that all those cases can move to the lawyers at Mill Shirley. They've been very instrumental in helping me in this endeavor to run for office. They've been helpful, in this process. But there's a big job to turn over those cases. I have an active trial practice as a lawyer here in Galveston for 20 plus years, and I've kind of worked on that. Judge Ellisor has offered that I can come visit with him and talk about the docket and how to move things along for an easy transition. But, one thing we have to do is figure out, what cases I have conflicts, what cases I have to move to another court. And I'm really excited about that. But right now, I've made no, predeterminations about anything in that court. I haven't looked at that docket other than my own docket.
Gotcha. Well, Judge-elect Jeth Jones, looking forward to talking to you more as I liked how you called it, the baby judge classes you have to take a little bit later. Thanks for coming on with us. And I know they're trying to kick you out of there. It was a party for y'all tonight. So thanks so much for coming on with us, Judge.
TJ, thanks for having me. And I appreciate all you do.
Judge-elect Jeth Jones, they elected tonight. 65% of the vote so far, was still some numbers, but not it's a commanding lead and on his way to victory tonight. Jeth, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you. Have a good night. Now let's go ahead, folks, and get into our continuing election coverage now as we go on our local races. As you can see, as we got scrolling there, we've already called the race for Galveston County Judge on Mark Henry. You see, we just talked to Jeth Jones, who's going to be victorious tonight there. Jack Roady is going to be reelected as district attorney as well. Now going into Justice of the Peace Precinct 3, the one Democrat win that will be coming tonight out of Galveston County will go ahead be Billy Williams, the incumbent for Justice of the Peace Precinct 3. There was some concern when the districts got redrawn that may be more Republican leaning, but Billy Williams working it out there and getting that. So there we go. Billy Williams on the way there. So now let's go ahead. A lot of interest now in the League City Council races, as well as the mayoral recall in Lamarck. So let's go ahead and take a look at that Lamarck recall election. Now the mayoral recall right now, and this is with some election day numbers in. 415 people voted. That 415 votes counted so far. A little more than that because there were 32 undervotes on this ballot in Lamarck there. But right now, those against the recall, leading those for it, 54.48%. That's kind of held over close to what the numbers were, but a little bit of a closing on the margin percentage-wise on those who want the recall. In fact, if you look at the election day numbers, those wanting to recall Mayor Keith Bell outnumbered the number of folks who voted against it on election day. So that's why we're going to still watch this to see what the election day turnout may swip there. But still, it's a percentage-wise pretty good lead there for Keith Bell to retain as mayor. Let's go up now to League City Council races to take a look at how those are going. Here. So we've already told you Nick Long was unopposed, Andy Mann unopposed. So Nick Long, the new mayor that's been expected for some time since no one ran against him. We're getting ready for that. He'll be sworn in a few weeks. Andy Mann winning re-election there. Also, Chad Tressler won. Tommy Cohn's dominating win tonight. Now he's up his percentage, 71, almost 72% of the vote for Tommy Cohn's for position 2. This will be the third time Tommy Cohn's elected back to city council in League City there. And then in the race for the unexpired term position 3, Larry Milliken had the seat. He left office early, and as such, that's now an unexpired term for 2 years. Tom Cruise, Chris Dotson, Brian Hanby. Tom Cruise with 57% of the vote, so far commanding enough a lead that he'll avoid a runoff in that race there, but still a lot of votes to be counted out of League City from Election Day. We only have 408 of the Election Day votes counted. League City always has a good turnout. The other race to be watching closely here is it looks like we're heading to a runoff in position 7 there. Three-way race: Larissa Ramirez, Sean Saunders, and Angie Mertens. Saunders with 38.96%. 1 percentage point behind him is Larissa Ramirez at 37.96% of the vote. Angie Mertens at 23% of the vote. But it's really right now between Saunders and Ramirez for the runoff there. You have to get 50% or more to avoid the runoff. And some interest now. We've had a lot of interest in the Texas City ISD props. And let me go ahead and go over that for you. Prop A, that's the big one out of Texas City ISD. This is the one that builds the new high school for Lamarck. That'll be there. That's going to be, a big one there, obviously. I'm trying to bring up my notes on this. It's more than $100 million for the new high school. And then the Prop B includes some improvements to the stadiums there. It's winning as well, but not as big of a margin. I should point out that Prop A also includes a new ag barn, a new expansion of Texas City High School, as well as a new Lamarck High School there. And so that one, as we go along the way, 61% of the vote for Prop A out of Texas City ISD. Prop B also leading the way with 52% of the vote here. But again, most of that early voting, we're not sure how Election Day, how many more votes we have coming in on Election Day. TCISD includes part of Lamarck and Texas City, by the way, as well. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now, some update on some breaking news out of Harris County. Now, there were several polls that folks were being allowed to vote provisionally, and they were trying to get those counted. A judge had ruled earlier in the day, because folks had claimed that polls did not open on time and many people left, that the polls could stay open until 8 instead of 7. So anyone that wasn't in line at 7 o'clock on many polling locations in Harris County, those that weren't in line at 7 voted provisionally. Those were going to count, but now the Texas Supreme Court has ruled that those cannot count to the vote totals there. So that ruling for Texas Supreme Court would seem to nullify those votes. They've been kept separate because they were provisional votes. Those are counted separately if they do ever get put in, but they're not going to be counted in according to the Texas Supreme Court. There have been delays. Harris County also had some counting machines go down at one point as well. Earlier in the night, those got fixed. But there's reports of delays at polling locations and the like throughout there. But as we look at the results that what we have thus far out of Harris County, and they haven't changed much here, as we don't have any really Election Day results here. Lena Hidalgo leading narrowly over Alexandra Miller, the Republican challenger to the incumbent from the Democrat there in that race. Lena Hidalgo, 50% of the vote to Mueller's 49.3% of the vote. A big issues there were is crime coming up. We're going to see a lot of the judges doing that. The other Harris County race that we follow, because it does cover our area here, is the county commissioner, Harris County Commissioner Precinct 2, the incumbent Adrian Garcia, the Democrat, with 51% of the vote. Again, that's mostly almost all early voting. And then Jack Mormon, the former county commissioner, at 48.65% of the vote there. So that one probably is, from what the numbers were trending, Adrian Garcia goes on to win that. So on the state numbers, and so now we'll take a look at things as we have 204 of 254 counties reporting in the state. This is from the Texas Secretary of State's office. This is how we follow the bigger races, or our multi-district races that we have here as well. So here, Greg Abbott, 56% of the vote, on his way to be reelected governor for his third term. Dan Patrick, 55% as leading over Mike Collier for lieutenant governor. Ken Paxton, despite all the controversy surrounding him, 54% of the vote. Rochelle Garza, who became the Democratic nominee member, she beat out Joe Jaworski, the former mayor of Galveston, in the Democratic runoff for that seat there. Commissioner of the General Land Office. We follow this one because it's important for Galveston County in many ways. Beach renourishment. Land Office has a lot of say in the rebuilding of hurricane damaged homes, particularly those from Harvey, and still some from Ike as well. Dawn Buckingham, the Republican, 57% of the vote, on the way for victory there. District 7 in the State Board of Education, Julie Pickering. She is dominating there out of Alvin, by the way. She used to be an Alvin ISD school board member. She is dominating in that race there. She will move on to District 7. And speaking of former members of the State Board of Education, the Terri Leo Wilson running for state rep to replace Mace Middleton, easily on her way to win there, 65% of the vote as well. Early vote was 24,000. There's still votes to be counted. Not enough of a difference to go on the way for Keith Henry, the former Texas City commissioner there. Greg Bonnen, we called this one earlier tonight. This is his state representative district, is all in Galveston County. So 70% of the vote. Greg Bonnen, the state representative, the incumbent Republican, on his way to win. Michael Creedon, who had ran for school board in Clear Creek, the only other election cycle there was challenge him. Also, a vet there, but just couldn't make a dent there. Greg Bonnen also serves on a lot of important committees up in the state house. And Randy Weber, we had him on earlier tonight as well, victorious over Michael Williams. Michael Williams, attorney out of Kemah, Randy Weber out of Friendswood, and Weber with almost 70% of the vote as well there, and on his way to victory. And in those races, those are the state races that a lot of interest that our viewers have. So we're showing you that as it goes. Again, we've been focused on the local elections throughout the night. So as you see, this pops up. We just had our first election day. Really kind of significant returns coming in. We're going to get our next update. We'll kind of find out how close we are to things. This was the 9/18 update, so this is about 30 minutes old now. Not much, as I said here. We're still kind of waiting on the final election day numbers in League City Council and the mayoral recall in Lamarck there to see how that pays out. But again, Mark Henry, Jeff Jones, Jack Roady, winner in those countywide elections that were held in Galveston County. Congratulations to them. Mark Henry reelected. William King III, former city council member, mayor pro tem in Dickinson. He put a lot out there, but still only got a little bit less than 35% of the vote thus far. It's probably going to hold that way throughout the night. You'll see these kind of percentage numbers trend the same way on election day. Has been the Democrats do have one silver lining. They have a victory for Billy Williams, the precinct 3 justice of the peace. Billy Williams there was 61% of the vote. He'll go on to win there. And it's still really close in the race for Galveston ISD 7G trustee. And taking a look at Ken Jinks with 50.62%. To Mindy Lakin, she is the incumbent, 49.38% of the vote there. So that's a close one there. We're going to get an update on just how many more votes need to be counted in Galveston that's a single member district. So it's going to be a very limited number. My bet is that may be the final, but we'll double check on that here when the next update comes to be able to finally say, yes, that race is over. And for those following the Texas City ISD school bond propositions, Texas City ISD with 61% of the vote on Prop A for it, and on Prop B, the smaller of the two. The Prop A is more than $100 million there. That's building a new Lamarck High School, expanding Texas City High School, a new ag barn, and expanding career tech and at Texas City, and also the arts programs at Texas City High School. And then Prop B, this is the smaller one that includes, by the way, improvements to Stingery Stadium in Texas City and a new stadium for Lamarck High School. That'll be over there. So we'll be getting details on that as it goes as well. And again, as we told you in League City, Tommy Cohn's cruising to a victory there for position 2. So he'll go back to council for the 3rd time in League City. Tom Cruise dominating in the 3-way race for position 3, the unexpired term of Larry Milliken after he stepped down on position 3. Tom Cruise on his way to a victory there. And then position 7, it looks to be a runoff. Larissa Ramirez and Sean Saunders. I don't think, unfortunately, I say unfortunately for her, Angie Merton's not able to catch up there. So on that one, Lamarck Mayor recall again, 54% of the voters saying so far. We're going to check the day of numbers still on that to see what type of turnout we had in Lamarck. But so far, Keith Bell holding on to his seat there. And so we'll see, because that's been a very nasty one all the way through. Allegations going back and forth on that. And I'm not going to get into the details of those. But as I said, it's been pretty nasty throughout the way. A lot of allegations, both sides on this one. It's been just downright, yes, nasty. But in any case, again, Keith Bell looks like the voters are supporting him thus far. And doesn't look like much of a change there has happened. But the day of voting has been for the recall so far, percentage-wise, versus those against it. So the early voting may make the difference in the long run, or the election day voting is going to make it out. So we're going to make sure we keep an eye on that one throughout the night as well. So our coverage continues here on I-45 now. Make sure you keep up with our stuff. Charlisa Gary is at our polling center in Galveston County, keeping up. We're getting updates also from Harris County as well. And we'll have those updates for you on our next round. Again, it's a little bit before 10 o'clock. We'll probably be back here about 10:20 or so whenever we get our next set of numbers. I'm TJ Alds, I-45 now.